what I've learned along my journey, is if you hang out with people who have a poverty consciousness and have no ambition, well, then you're going to be surrounded in poverty and you're going to be surrounded with no ambition. And then on the flip side of that coin, if you hang out with people who are uplifting, people who have a strong psychology, have a great set of self-discipline and characteristics of character and strength and a courageous spirit, well, all that energy is going to rub off on you. And it's really valuable because you have to be able to offer more to other people than anyone else if you want to become wealthy and be successful and ultimately happy, because happiness, wealthiness, and success are all, it's like a triangle. You can't have one without the other. I mean, success is an effect of being wealthy, healthy, but also, you have to have the mindset. I love how Tony Robbins was talking about when he became rich and he started bringing in so much money, and he got depressed because all his friends were, calling him out and, oh, you're into being rich now, you're into the money. And he said, no, I'm just not into poverty anymore. And that's you have to follow the money in life. I mean, you really do. And the key is the people who are in a disadvantaged circumstance, when you follow the money, you have to give back to those people who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs, musicians, or artists, or whatever kind of avenue somebody wants to take in their life. Whatever it is, you want to be able to give back to people. So you need to work with the people that have money and people who are already successful. And then in return, out of your own heart of generosity and gratitude and being thankful for all these lessons, you give back to people. You don't give them a handout, you give them a hand up. And with that hand up, you uplift them. You spark a powerful message within them that always existed. I mean, think about it. When we were children, we always were drawing pictures and we all had dreams and goals of, having a big house and a fancy car and a pool in the backyard, and people working for us, people cooking for us or making food. And then nice clothes and shoes and all that stuff, all that material stuff. But what happens along the way? I mean, what strips our dreams? I mean, it's a lot of factors, but ultimately, the three things that come to mind the most for me is it's your psychological state. Because if you are surrounded in negative energy, then as a child, you're going to be brought up in a negative environment. And, God bless all the parents out there, and God bless my parents. But, ultimately, we're doing the best what we can do. And parents are doing the best that they can do. So we're going to all make mistakes. We're only human, okay? We're not perfect. But it's important that we learn from our childhood and we learn from our teenage life. Because I have a story real quick. I remember when I was a kid, I used to have lemonade stands, and I'm sure many of you guys out there did too. Well, we didn't have cable growing up. We had like 2 or 3 channels. It wasn't because we didn't have the money or we were poor, but it was because our parents didn't want us to be inside all day watching television and playing video games. So when we had the opportunity, which I'm thankful for, thank you, Mom and Dad, when we go to friends' house and we play video games and watch cable TV like Nickelodeon, Who's Afraid of the Dark, it was like a bit of freedom. But when we came back home, we didn't have that. But it was because being outside and playing and getting dirty and playing football and basketball, cops and robbers, hide and go seek, freeze tag, and eating dinner together, those were foundational skills and values that you can never take away. And watching cartoons in the morning before school like Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joe and X-Men, we love that stuff. Watching Star Wars, we grew up on that, and it's so great. When you look back at that, you feel so grateful that you had those memories that are still with you today. So when I was like 13 or 14, I really, really wanted Nintendo 64. And my parents said, well, we're not going to buy it. We're not getting it. If you want it, you get it. And that kind of ignited the fire within me, and I was like, you know what? I am gonna go get a Nintendo 64. I'm gonna work, and I'm gonna walk around the block, the neighborhood. So I just picked up the lawnmower as a young teenager and started walking around house to house, door to door, asking people if I could cut their grass for, you know, $10 or sometimes $15. So when my brother went off to college, you know, I took over the houses that he was cutting grass for, and then I had some other ones on the side, and I saved up my money that whole summer in cash in my drawer in my room, and I didn't spend it at all. Like, I really wanted that Nintendo 64. I wanted to play GoldenEye. I wanted the Mario Kart. I didn't want to be dependent on going over to my friend's house to play these video games. So after the summer came, it was around the time of November when my birthday was coming on, and I was just so thankful because I went to the commissary, the BX at Langley Air Force Base, and I went in there. I knew I had the money. I think I went with my dad or my brother. Yeah, I went with my dad, and we went in together, and I bought Nintendo 64, and that day was just like, I mean, I worked for it, I earned it, and I got rewarded. And those are the best feelings in the world, when you work for something and you earn it, and then you reward yourself. That is a great cycle. I mean, and then before we came home, we went to like one of the movie update, like Blockbuster type stores, and we got GoldenEye and I think Mario Kart, and maybe one more game. And so when we came back home, it was just like this, I can't even express the happiness that I had, because 13 or 14 years old, we never had video games, we never had cable, and it was actually like in a combination of a lot of things, because my parents knew that I was going to buy it. So for the first time in our life, we got a big TV, cable, and it was like a whole new life opened up. And then when my brother came home, when I showed him that we had GoldenEye, 007, James Bond, he was like, he's just seen the look on his face, like, I love you, Richard. And I mean, we played video games that night, and we had a curfew, so we couldn't play it for that long because we had restrictions, which are good. And you know, that's like my little story of, you know, and for everybody out there that wants something, that desires things, we all desire. So you got to be willing to take risk and get outside your comfort zone, and not just do the typical day-to-day 9 to 5. I mean, that doesn't work for me. It may work for you. If it makes you happy, that's good, that's great, I'm happy for you. But for many of us out there that are working jobs that are unfulfilling, that do not leave you with a sense of accomplishment or making a difference in people's lives, go out and create your own career. You know, you don't, to all the teenagers in high school right now, if you watch this video, listen, the most successful self-made multi-millionaires and billionaires, most of them, I think like 1 out of 4, do not have a college degree, and many do not even have a high school diploma. So don't just think that you have to do what everybody else tells you about going to college and getting a bachelor's degree, then getting your master's, and then being tens of thousands of dollars in debt, you know. But those tens of thousands of dollars, you can create a business. You can create multiple businesses. You don't have to subject yourself to the pressures of society, okay? You don't have to do that. It's not necessary. I suggest that you go out and you create the life and career and business that you want. And as Brian Tracy says from No Excuses, you are the CEO of your own personal services corporation. You are the boss. You are self-employed, and you call the shots. And you go out and offer more than anyone else can to other people. That about wraps it up for right now. Whole Foods right around the corner. I am paying attention to the road, so don't worry, I'm safe. Thank you so much. It's just like indescribable feelings. This sense of well-being, of being healthy and being joyful and grateful and really wanting to help people. That is true wealth. It's helping other people and growing yourself into financial freedom. Going into your bank account and seeing those zeros and seeing your numbers multiply every day, every week for the rest of your life. And then you can give back more and more and more. And that is the power of belief. It's the biology of belief. You create the life you want based upon your own thoughts, feelings, actions, and words. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. I love you so much. Adios.